Valley View and Wave at 8th Street.
I'm Courtney Miles at 8th Street. I'm Megan Sloan at 8th Street. I'm Carla Johnson at 8th Street. I'm Letitia Norris on 8th Street. I'm Sarah and I'm at 8th Street. I'm Kelly and I'm at 8th Street. I'm Haley and I'm at 8th Street. I'm Mary Beth and I'm at 8th Street. I'm Annette and I'm at 8th Street. I'm Sean and I'm at 8th Street. I'm Sierra and I'm at 8th Street. And Melissa and I'm at 8th Street.
Hey, well, welcome.
I didn't get that straight.
This is Gabby. She kicks us out. And she's my co-facilitator. She helps me out all the time, keeps me on track. Okay, we did our introductions. Housekeeping. Bathrooms are, if you go out this door to the right, there's 3 sets of bathrooms there. If those are full, if you just continue through the little maze and turn right, you'll come to 2 more bathrooms. So, and we will take a break. I'm going to try to take a break around 10, so if someone keeps me on track for 10 on time, that'd be great. Coffee's in the kitchen, water's behind you. Tabby can put out chocolate for us to keep you guys awake.
Okay, like I'm the only one that reacted.
Anything else that you guys need to know? Oh, you can get up and go to the restrooms whenever you want. Feel free. If you need to get up, get up and go. I don't have a problem with it. If you want to sit on the floor, you can get up and sit on the floor.
You're welcome.
Okay, the second subconscious discipline. I would like you to learn to implement the brain states of the development and implement at least one thing in your classroom today, which I'm really going to focus on the composure piece or safe place piece, because there's a safe place set up over here in the corner, like a little bitty one, so you can see what you have in your safe place, but you don't have to have that. Identify the relationships with the 7 skills, which are in your handout. They're the composure, empathy, choices. I don't have the but we're going to concentrate on composure and then apply one of those 7 skills into your classroom or your daily life. Okay. I want you guys to check your focus now. If you're at a 1, your thumbs are down. You don't have to put your thumb down. Just kind of think in your mind where you're at. If you're at a 5, you're kind of sideways. And if you're at a 10, your thumb is up. So think in your mind where you're at right now. And we're going to stand up and do the morning dance song. And this is my thank you, guys. But it's good to do this with your children in your classroom because it changes or it started. Yeah, but if you like time, you can pass. But I like you guys all stand up and try. So let's stand up.
I'm taking notes.
Good morning. I'm Jack. Let's get ready together for a great day. Get your hands ready, shake, shake. Get your arms ready, stretch, stretch. Get your hands ready, get your focus ready. Good morning, good morning. Let's get ready to praise the Lord. Ready to start the day. Get your hands ready, shake, shake. Get your arms ready,
April. Hey.
Whatever it is, because I didn't do a game. Now we're gonna already play ball.
Yeah, sorry.
I do play.
You gotta do the pretzel.
3 deep belly breaths.
Where? I don't know.
Right here.
Do it. And one other housekeeping thing I'm gonna tell you, when I raise my hand up, I want everybody in the room to raise their hand up. When you all get your hand raised up, we're gonna shift our attention. We're gonna say, oh shit. And we're gonna shift. Now let's do our 3 belly breaths again. Tongue goes on top of your mouth. You wanna get through? Okay. And now that you're committed to being present in the training today, we're going to get started. We're going to check our energy level again. So, if you're at the same spot you were, 1's down, 5 sideways, thumbs up. So, whose energy is a little bit better than it was before? Or you can end up, that's fine. Okay, and focus. Who's more focused now that we danced to that song and got to move in a groove? You can raise your hands up, that's fine. The reason we do those morning songs like that to get started is because the brain, it's optimal for brain development. It gets your brain thinking about what you're doing for the day. It creates academic success. Life is happier when you have healthier relationships and you get someone moving and laughing. It's healthier for you. And you become a person you want to be. And the best exercise for your brain is exercise. So you get those little kids up in the morning and get them moving and dancing to your songs. Even if you think it's silly, you're getting their brain to start thinking about what they're going to be doing for that day. This is a video on the harsh reality of preschool. It's some of the stuff in it is pretty hard to watch, but it actually does happen in everyday situations. We have a client that I see here on a regular basis, and he's only been in school a week, and he's a kindergartner, and he's been expelled for a week as of yesterday, because him and his teacher got into a power struggle, and he pushed his teacher, and they expelled him for a week, and he's a kindergartner. So, and then I have another child that I see over at TEP who got in a power struggle with a brand new teacher over there, and he yelled at her, and they suspended him for a week. So, this actually does happen.
And increase behavior problems for years to come. Data does show that a child's cognitive function can improve. But in the real world, how helpful is intelligence if you can't get along with others? The way we organize preschool today is a very new idea. For a millennium, children were cared for in multi-age groups. Infants, 2-year-olds, 4- and 9-year-olds would all be cared for together. This guaranteed that children would have different needs and also different skill sets to help within the group. Preschools typically put the same age children together in the same room. This presents a problem because the 3rd and 4th years of life are some of our most aggressive years. Hitting, pushing, shoving, and screaming are the problem-solving tools available. For many kids, it's just too much. And the last choice is to simply give up. Aggressive acts, suspensions, and expulsions in preschool are much higher than in grades kindergarten through 12. Expulsion rates in these grades are 2 students per 1,000, while children in preschool are expelled at a rate that is 1,300% higher. Under normal circumstances, a preschooler's brain is ready to learn empathy, compassion, patience, emotional self-control, how to ask for a turn, and how to solve conflicts peacefully. How could any child learn or any educator teach when a conflict happens every single minute? The current demands on both adults and children are too great. This dilemma must be addressed. The good news is that we have a proven solution so that preschool will benefit children in both cognitive and social ways. Every child must learn how to stand up to aggression and teach other children how they want to be treated.
What's the problem?
Alex squeezed me too hard.
He squeezed you too hard. Do you have something that you could say to him? Next time? What would you say?
Please next time do it softer.
Can we practice? Okay, show me. Do a soft hug.
You did it. You touched Stephanie and you waited for her to look. You asked her for what you wanted.
Get ready. Stop. I don't like it. I want my cupcake back. Yeah, give it back. All right, try one more time with me. Let me hear. And then you say, please give it back. You know what? I bet you would if you used your good voice.
Conscious discipline provides teachers and parents with these skills. This allows them to empower all children to be successful and personally resilient members of society. We can shift this problem, and we can do it today. Let's start the conversation.
Okay, after watching that video, do we see that a lot in our classroom? The hitting and the screaming, and you have so many conflicts that you don't know what to do with, right? Yeah, it's a pretty common occurrence because of the way we place children these days. However, conscious discipline will provide a blueprint for helping the adults incorporate a safe and connection in their work life with the children. And the reason, I know a lot of you have done I love you rituals in your classroom, and the reason that we started those I love you rituals is to make that connection with the children, because if you're making that connection with the child, they feel safe. And I know, Letitia, you started the school family thing, right? I'm sorry I'm throwing you under the bus this morning. I forgot to tell you I was going to do this. But you started the school family in your classroom, and you did you did the jobs, and you put the calendar up and the safe place up, and incorporated that stuff in your classroom. Do you want to explain to your coworkers how long it took for us to get that established in your room? And it's still a work in progress, yes, but she's doing it, so it can be done. She's got toddlers. Do you want to? It's a tough room. She has a very tough room. She's potty training everything. Do you want to come up here? Yeah, all boys. She has all boys in her classroom. And there was a lot of fighting and hitting and all kinds of stuff going on. And so we implemented, have you got your fishbowl up yet? She's working on getting a fishbowl for kindness. And every time they do a kind act, she puts a fish in the fishbowl.
Yeah, you gave me that.
And so instead of a clip chart, because children at this age have no concept of what a clip chart is, it's a negative. We're kind of punishing our children and don't even know we're punishing them. I'll give you an example. Then it just happened this week in my life. Trevor Trevor came, he's in junior high now, so he came home from school on Wednesday, and I said, how was school? Okay. I said, well, what does okay mean? And then I could tell he was about ready to have a meltdown. I said, what's wrong? He goes, I just don't think I can do this. You got to have your planner here. You got to have your planner. If you don't take it here, you get a detention. If you don't bring this, you get a detention. And if you don't do this, you get a detention. And you get a detention for this. I just don't think I can do this. Well, they had their orientation. And in the orientation, they try to scare them into saying if they don't turn this in, you get a detention. If you don't do this, you get a detention. So I asked him, I said, Trevor, have you ever had a detention before? No. I said, have you ever been late before? No. Have you turn in your assignments? Yeah. He goes, but what if I don't? I get a detention. So they were using the scare tactic to scare these middle schoolers into thinking if they don't follow into the rules right away, then they'd be in detention, which I finally used it over with him. I said, Trevor, you've never had a detention before. Everything's going to be fine. It's just like it was in elementary school, except you're responsible for yourself now versus the teachers being on top of you. So we do it in our everyday society and don't even realize we're doing it. And that's what we want to get away from is fear-based punishment. And the grade schools right now are really bad about using fear-based punishment. And it's not doing anything to our children except sending them down into their brains down. So that's why we're here today. We're going to bring them up out of that, and you guys are going to go out and teach and help make these children be good children. Conscious Discipline is a comprehensive classroom management program which uses social and emotional curriculum, and it's based on current brain development. And the only person that can change first is you guys. You guys have to make that transformational change in your life and change one thing, just one thing at a time. But once you change one thing, you can change it in your classroom. But it starts with you. It's just like I tell Trevor from the day he was little bitty. He gets mad over itty-bitty small things all the time. And the only one that's getting mad is him. That person that's calling you that name isn't making you mad. You're getting mad because of that name. So the only person getting mad is you. Conscious discipline is about transformative change, which we just talked a little bit about. It's asking the adults to see the misbehavior as a call for help. Conflict is a teaching opportunity. I know I've given some of you the thumbprint time machines. Have you tried them out yet? Do they work okay? Yeah. Start to, after they get the concept of it. This is actually the big time machine. So once two children get into a conflict with each other, you can bring them to the time machine and have them step up. They breathe like a star. First they have to be willing, so they got to be up out of their brainstem into their emotional state. And then they step up and they breathe. You put your hands over your heart and you wish each other well. They look at the kid in the eye. And then they look at each other and say, 1, 2, 3, let's do it. And then they come up here, and then whatever this child says, I don't like it when you hit me, please ask me for the toy next time. And this one will say, okay, I can do it. And then they do some kind of little I love you ritual and go on the way. And I have the little thumbprint one. And if you guys don't have one and would like one, just let me know and I can get April some. She can. Connection is powerful motivator. That's why we like to do the I love you rituals, to get that connection with the child. Because a lot of times at home they don't get that connection, that empathy that they need from their parents, as busy as we are in our lifestyle these days. So that connection is what the I love you rituals do. Understand that the only person we can truly make change is ourselves. And understand that independence is the basis for the problem solving. And the internal state dictates your behavior. So however you feel inside is how you're going to behave. We do a lot of feeling buddies curriculum, I do when I go into classrooms. And if you have that grumpy look on your face, I'm sure you're probably feeling grumpy that day. And the kids are going to pick up on that. So we need to leave everything outside the door before we and understand what you focus on, you get more of. Just like those power struggles. in your handouts. I'm not sure what page it's on, but it just explains, it breaks the skills down. I'm not going to go through them all with you today, but you can go ahead and look at them in your chart. We've only got 4 hours. So, and if you have any questions on them, you can always meet, or April comes along. This is the pyramid. It starts with the brain state model, which we're going to focus on today, which is the brainstem, the limbic system, and the prefrontal lobe. And then it moves up into the 7 powers. And you move up into the connecting with the family, and then the 7 skills. This is transitional discipline versus conscious discipline. And this is the old system that's in all the schools right now that are not working with the clip charts. First warning, they move down. Second warning, they do this. Because it's pushing those children into fear or surrender. So with conscious discipline, we give them choices. We have a safe place that they can go to anytime they need to. For children that need more help, we can put them on a behavior plan, an IEP with the school district, Encompass, and whoever they work with, Russell. And then we use logical consequences because you're actually learning something from logical consequences versus a clip chart. And I'm going to use Trevor a lot as examples because Tig, when he was little, he's been raised with conscious discipline. And, I call him Tigger. We've called him Tigger since he was little, so if I call him Tigger, that's fine. When he was in preschool, we just moved out here, and I was teaching in Spearville in the interrelated classroom. And he was in preschool, and they did the clip chart with hearts in preschool. Well, this teacher, they were doing, I don't know what they were doing for sure, but anyway, she said she's going to move all their hearts down. And so she moved them all down, and all the kids automatically started crying in the classroom and listening to the teachers, except for Tigger. He kept doing what he was doing. So I got called into the principal's office, and I thought at this time, oh, it's just, they're going to call me down there because there's a child in the special ed room that needs help, and I need to go help resolve this conflict. And I get down there, and Trevor's sitting there with his teacher and the principal, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Well, he didn't want to tell me what happened, but his teacher said, well, I can't remember what they're doing, messing around, doing something. They weren't supposed to be doing, they're supposed to be listening. And she goes, I moved all the hearts down, and everybody in the classroom started crying and listening to what I wanted them to do, except for your son. And he goes, do you want to tell him what you said? And Trevor shook his head. I said, what did he say? He goes, I don't care about that damn heart. It's just a piece of paper. Because Trevor had always been raised, with conscious discipline, so, you're not gonna shame me into behaving. And she shamed all those children into behaving except for Trevor. Trevor was gonna do whatever he wanted to because he wasn't gonna be shamed into behaving. And so I kind of get it for it. So, but that's just an example how those clip charts don't work because you're shaming those children into doing what you want them to do. They're shutting down, and you're shaming them into it. Okay, in the back of your packet, you should have a bingo card. And what I want you to do with this bingo card, this is another kind of icebreaker, moving around, getting our brain to work. We're going to go around and you're going to ask people to initial or sign or however they want to do it, 2 things on this bingo card. So, you may get up and start moving around. And say, Nicole. It's just really important that we know when all these things come online, so that way we know where our child is at developmentally wise. And I also will say, if they've had a trauma in their life, or moved from place to place to place a lot, they could be in preschool and still be working on some of these, like your empathy and your impulse control. If they've had a trauma that's happened early in their life, but they're actually at preschool age. So it's like your premature babies, they're always behind their age group. We're going to get into the brain models right now. And the first one, which is this red one right here behind Alberta, is the survival state, or the brain stem. And in the survival state, I think of it as a wolf because you're threatened in that state. That's the state where you feel threatened. You want to run from it, or fight. A sword. You want to fight, or defend. Come on, you gotta animate it. Defend. Or you pull out your white flag and you surrender. So that's your brain stem. And most of the children in our classrooms, in preschool, in daycares, which you guys are teaching, are in their brain stem. They don't even start to move up out of their brain stem until they're 3 years old. So all of your children are in this fight, defend, or surrender stage. And these are what you see is the fight, flight, surrender, or freeze, because they could just freeze up and not move. And then I also want to let you know that your brain is not fully developed till you're 25 years old. So, all that stupid stuff that I did when I was younger, before I was 25, was because my brain wasn't developed. So, like all the times you go out drinking and partying, just blame it on your brain, because your brain wasn't developed. This state, the behaviors that are exhibited are fight, flight, or surrender, or freeze. In this state, you're always asking, am I safe? Am I safe? Where is it can I be where I'm safe? And that's why we want to create that school family so these children feel safe and loved and cared for in the classroom. You fight or flight, which is you're acting out. You see this with your children all the time. They always want to fight or kick or hit or beat in you guys. He's acting out. Hitting, pushing, running, hiding, screaming, or kicking. Freeze, that's where that you surrender or you act in. You just turn off and your dopamine goes away. Your dopamine is what gives you your happy juice. And if it's gone, then the kid just slinks down the first shelf and surrenders to whatever you want him to do. Kind of like what they were doing with the detention thing. They were wanting all the kids to surrender to their way, to the authoritative way. Or it could look like daydreaming or spaciness. Do you see a lot of this, maybe? Kids daydreaming, spacing off. They could just be calm, not really much of anything, but they're still in that brain stem. The emotional state, which is your limbic system, which is the blue part of your brain over here, is when you move up this. In this state is your CD-ROM. This is everything that has been taught to you from an early age by your mother, and it's handed down from generation to generation to generation. It's your CD-ROM. We need to get rid of that CD-ROM and change our way of speech. And I know it's hard because sometimes I talk and my mother's voice comes out and I don't even realize it until afterwards. That's my mother's voice coming out. brainstem. Okay.
I'm doing a job for April.
Yeah. She's so passive. Okay, you can take that. Here, here's my lights out. Here, April also gets the ribbon frog. Because when people are talking to you, you're going to go like this. Okay, so I need you guys to line up with my brain stem on the end. Yeah. There you go. There's the brain stems on the end, the limbic system, and then your frontal lobe. Oh, yep, she's already repetitive. My goodness. Okay, in order to get our brain to function developmentally, they've all got to be wired together, connected. Because if we say for this part of the brain to move, she wants to move, she's going to move. That half of your brain didn't move. She's watching them do whatever they want. This is because when your brain's not, when you're 25, your frontal lobe's up here, and you're back here doing drinking and whatever you want. So, okay, so you come back. So in order to wire our brain, before we do that, brain stem is, I'm going to find your wood. He's in there somewhere. Oh, there's your surrender. We're not surrendering yet. She feels threatened. She don't feel safe. So that's the wolf. So she can either fight. What are you going to fight with? Kind of scares me a little bit. Fight, or we're going to defend ourselves, which is a shield. I know, the brainstem's fun because it's got so much stuff in there. Yeah. Or she's going to surrender to whatever that teacher's making her do. Yep. So, that's your brainstem. And then, what do you feel? Emotional. That's right, you're the emotional one. So you want to feel like I love. So, and you hear your mother talking in your ear. The CD-ROM. And then she's just a nice, wise old owl. She's got all the brilliance. The brilliance is flowing from her. Okay. If we are down in our brainstem, and you can put your dog on this one. Okay. You guys can. And I come up to this, I see this a lot in classrooms. I come up and I go, "Stop doing what are you doing? What is your name? Tell me what your name is." People yell, but those kids don't yell. Yeah, you could know a little bit louder. All they hear is, they're just like this because they're dumbfounded because they don't know what your name is. Like if I come to her, "What is your name? Tell me what your name is." See how she did that? That's what kids feel like when they're in their brainstem. And when they're in their brainstem, even though they're always in their brainstem, I should rephrase that. But teachers who sit across the room and like a kid's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they say, "Johnny, Johnny, come here. Johnny, come here. Don't, Johnny, stop doing that, Johnny." They're going to be riveting like April's doing right there. Because they're not paying a lick of attention to what you're saying. They're in their brainstem. In order to get them to do what you want them to do, you need to come to them, touch them like this, and say, "April, would you come with me?" And see, she's not going to rip it at me because I got her eye connection. Except April's kind of a bad example because she's so mellow anyway. No, she's really good. So, do you guys understand that concept of yelling across the room at children, and it's much easier to get down at their eye level? Right, Tabby? You see this every day because you go in Head Start classrooms. You want to give some examples? I'm putting you on the spot. You don't have to.
Sure. No, I've seen it plenty of times. I go in for consultations, and the kids are at the Dramatic Play Center, and the teacher's at the smart board, and she's yelling across the room to get that kid to come over, and it's just very terrifying, actually, because I'm in the office, and then you hear this lady, Juan, get over here, it's time to write your name. And I'm like, it goes on and on and on until that child finally surrenders, or the parent goes over and takes him by the hand and doesn't even talk to him. You know, they're not at his level. She's always in a chair. They're never on the floor. And it's terrifying if you're a little person, and I'm only 5 foot, but if I go up to a child and I'm trying to direct them or redirect them, it's terrifying the distance between the two of us. And I don't want to scare anybody. That's not our goal. Our goal is not to scare anyone.
We want to bring them up out of that brainstem so they can use their brilliant part of their brain.
And actually, by yelling at them, you're just keeping them in the brainstem. And if they weren't there before, they are now. So.
Okay. You guys want to turn sideways? In order to get this to work right, we need to wire our brainstem together. So, I'm sorry, I'm touching you. Yeah. And then April's going to put her arms on Sarah. Now, whatever if Christina tells, or she's the front of the brain, she wants to walk forward, she can walk forward and the whole brain's going to follow with her. Whereas before, when we weren't wired all together, when she wanted to walk forward, she could walk forward without the rest of her brain and sit over here and watch this part do stupid stuff. She didn't do anything about it. Thank you, ladies. Oh, okay. Well, she went ahead and moved us forward to the frontal lobe, which is the problem solving and where you are the most awareness. Your thoughts and your feelings and behavior are regulated here. The skills, what you want to achieve is all up in your frontal lobe. This is an acronym for the executive skills, which runs the frontal lobe. It's a top wife makes good tea, which is attention, time management, organization, prioritization, working memory, impulse control, flexibility, empathy, metacognition, goal achievement, and task initiation. And emotional controls at the bottom, and I do not know why we can't see it, but it's actually down here. So, it's in your good notes. You guys can read through that. This is a little exercise, wiring your brain for success. It's just the same exercise that we did up here on why we need to get our brain working together. However, it's Becky teaching a class on wiring the brain. But before we start to do that, she's going to ask you to do a little activity with her where you put your hands up and you don't do nothing. And then she'll put her hands on her head, and when her hands go on her head, you put your hands up. And she's going to keep doing that and see how low you can think with your frontal lobe. So, I'm going to let my technology person start the video because she's going to do not touch it again. So, I'm not going to touch anything.
You're going to do nothing. Then, when I put my hands up, you're going to do what I just did. So when my hands go up, your hands go on your head. When my hands come down, your hands go up. You're going to do what I just did.
Did you guys understand
So
that?
I'm going to begin.
Okay.
You do nothing. Ready?
So her hands are going to go up and you're going to do nothing. But then when her hands go on her head, your hands go up.
And her hands go down.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Everybody ready?
And don't watch me because I can't do it. Okay, are we ready? Okay. Her hands are up, so we do nothing. Now I go on her head. Now I go up. And I can't do it. So see? You're supposed to do what she did right before.
Okay, that was a simple frontal lobe test, and I can see probably by your giggles it went over quite well. We're going to do one more. I want you to take your right hand and put it on your nose, your left hand and put it on your right ear. Everybody got it? Now switch.
Now you gotta switch
Switch. To hold that goal in mind, despite the distractions you might see, which is me doing something else. So we want children to be able to set goals and achieve them, and that's what the frontal lobe provides for us. Often, this is kind of left out in education because the frontal lobes are developed by the way we discipline our children, and most people don't understand this. So how many of you out there are parents or teachers? Raise your hand. Okay, now how many out there have had a brilliant moment with your own children in the teaching profession when it comes to a conflict? Some conflict came up with a child or a conflict with two adults, and at the moment, the right words at the right time just kind of came out of your mouth, and you had this absolutely brilliant moment, and this conflict that looked so real turned into like a cloud and dissipated in resolution. How many people have had those moments? I can't see you. Okay, I mean, it might have been 10 years ago, but we still had them, right? So we've had those moments. Now, how many of you can say when you were young, say, when I grow up and have children, I will never blank them? How many people have said that? How many people blank them pretty soon? Yeah. What happens is we tend to, unless you're in a certain state, we tend to repeat similar mistakes. We tend to stay in that insane state that was mentioned earlier today, where we do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. So what I'd like to show you is how that all looks in a metaphor inside the brain and what we need to do to help our children develop their frontal lobes so they can set goals, achieve them, resolve conflicts, resolve problems, develop empathy, see things from a different perspective, and access their own creative force. Now, many of us are familiar with athletes who say, who are wanting to be in the zone. I'm playing in the zone. I'm trying to get to the zone. How many people are familiar with that? Yeah. So you have some guy who shoots 7 birdies on 9 holes and a couple of eagles on the back 9. It's almost like in a state where you can do no wrong. A state where you are all that you can be, but even more than you can imagine. And that's that integrated state when we access our frontal lobe in the educational process. So let me show you what it looks like. So if you guys would come out here. Now, basically, there are 3 states that we enter in regard to problem solving or conflict resolution. We just talked a lot about today. But if you think about this, we don't have conflict without upset. And unless we can first deal with the upset, conflict resolution does not occur without I pull out my skill set, as dysfunctional as they may be, do I need to pull them out? Then we have the executive state. And this asks the question, what can I learn from this? So when a problem comes about, what can I learn from this problem? How can I see it as a challenge? How can I see the multifaceted from different perspectives? And how can I solve it? So in this state, we're accessing our brilliance and our infinite access to wisdom that we can't even put words on. Those brilliant moments where we know more than we think we ever should, where we don't know how we know what we know. So this is what we're after. We want to access this state and get in the zone in education. And so what happens if y'all put your cards away? How do we do this? How do we wire this brain for success? And how do we learn to install that?
In closing,
I know he did.
I just want to go back over that routines are pattern seeking. So the more you can create a routine in your classroom, or your brains are pattern seeking, so the more you can create that routine in your classroom with classroom pictures. Same thing every day, transition songs, because your brain is pattern seeking. The more you can create those patterns, the less behaviors you'll have in your classroom. And then patterns create predictability. Predictability creates safety. Patterns, predictability, and safety is what your brain seeks every day. So when you put those into routine, you'll have a safe classroom where your kids love to come and you'll have less behavior problems. So, is there any? That's right. It's not going to work when you first start it and try it. It's going to take how many times of repetition? Oh, Kelly gets another prize! Woo, Kelly! The more you do the same thing regularly, it's going to work. But you can only change who? You. Yourself. Yourself is the first person that you change. And implement one thing in your classroom. You can't go back and implement everything that we've talked about because it will not work. You'll be so overwhelmed and then you'll give up. So start with one thing like the 8th place and work on to something else. Start with the language and go on to something else. But remember, the only person that can make you change is yourself. So, is there any questions before we end? No? Okay. Well, I will scan that stuff to April, and feel free to take pictures of anything back there that you want, because it's all been begged, borrowed, and stole from somebody anyway. So, anything that you want to look at, go ahead. April, is there anything you want?
I saw a couple things.
Okay, I will talk to you after we're done. Thank you.